it was a landmark day for Fremantle, wasn't it?
100% it was. They did an outstanding job at Marvel Stadium when not many people thought they could. I understand that they had their backs to the wall. They thought that the world had turned on them. They were inspired by the fact that no one gave them a chance. And I thought the coach led the way. Yep. His press conference was outstanding. I thought he stood up and he spoke beautifully in the post-game. And if that's a sign of things to come, then they're a chance. And the thing is, they were 16 points down at quarter time. Let's not forget this. And they absorbed an enormous amount of territory to the Western Bulldogs. And the Western Bulldogs fell into the trap that Fremantle did the week previously. They just banged it in. They thought, we've got the tall timber, we'll just bang it in. They banged it in and kept going in. And the Dockers stood up. And from that point on, they got moving. And it was as good a Fremantle Docker performance as I've seen for a long time. As disappointing as they were the week before, they suggested it wasn't that bad. That's okay. You've got to sell the positive. But to come out and play like they did, they got to work in the middle. Their centre bounce stuff was great. So they won centre bounce against the best centre bounce clearance team in the comp by 5. That was really important because that means that the defence of the Western Bulldogs was under pressure right from the word go. And, you had Pearce play on Darcy. Darcy doesn't score at all, and Norton's kept in check by Cox. So all those things conspired to give them a good look in the front half.
So I like the Justin Longmuir persona, and I like that he doesn't like the narratives that have been built up around Fremantle, so he spent a little bit of time cracking those down. But this is the theatre that the club, not just his team, but the club has failed at repeatedly, and that was part of the burden that you carry until you conquer it, and they conquered it. And even though they have won a final under Longmuir, this was the peak moment, and it does set them up for what comes next. What was imprinted on all of us, I think, was what you showed us last week around their forward setup and how they go about it. And they found splendid isolation.
Yeah, I love this. You know how much I love, seeing what happens forward of the ball. So just remind us last week to the frustration of having these targets to shoot at and not taking advantage. And this was what we showed you last week. This was a hot Josh Tracy that had just kicked 2 goals against Brisbane, and we thought, righto, let him loose. And yet they didn't work together at all. They didn't work for one another, and they made him easy to defend. So the ball comes in, they all start jumping on each other's head, and they lose any initiative that they had. Fast forward to yesterday, look at Amos just peel off here. He says, no, let's isolate Tracy on lob. And Rory Lobb had a shocker. Rory Lobb doesn't want to defend like this. And this is a nice separation again. Doesn't matter who it is, but the space for Lobb trying to defend back shoulder here as opposed to him seeing the ball and intercept marking, which he's done so well. And then this brings a tear to my eye, this sort of stuff. I mean, I know it's stupid, but this is not getting in each other's way. And Tracy again gets the one out. And at the end of the day, you saw Voss hitting up and Amos hitting up, and it's 3 goals Voss, 3 goals Amos, 3 goals Tracy, bang, away they go, big win.
It was unmissable.
Yeah.
It was unmissable.
So that's hard to, there's some big forwards that are going to run around in September, but they've got 3 really good ones that are going to be hard to defend.
Caleb Sarong will be there. There was that curious moment of, he argued with the umpire at the time, he got to the ball first, and it ends up being high contact on Croft, the free kick's paid. And he went to ask his coach in the aftermath, do I have anything to worry about? And it hadn't even occurred to Justin Longmuir that it was something. It's not, as it's all been cleared by the MRO.
Yeah, that's how far we've come as a code, so that's a good thing in a way, but there's no issue there. He's first at the footy. So Caleb Sarong got hands to the ball ahead of Croft, who was super impressive from a Western Bulldogs point of view.
For the Western Bulldogs, so there was a truth contained in this, wasn't there? It was the truth that we wanted to overlook, or those who are holding a candle for the Bulldogs had wanted to overlook the whole way through. They hadn't stacked up against the top 9 teams. The only one they'd beaten throughout the course of the season were the Giants, who, funnily enough, if Gold Coast took the gas, they'd be playing the Giants in an elimination final and they'd probably win. So just sit that to the side. The truth of just not being good enough is there are parts of their game that seduce you, and there are critical flaws in the games that they just don't have covered.
Yeah.
Are you glass half full or empty on them? Is this a wasted campaign, or is this the precursor of what's to come?
Well, I can't be anything other than glass half full, which might surprise many, but they've got 2/3 of the puzzle all sorted out. Their midfield is elite. Their forward, the number 1 scoring team in the comp, we know. So this is as obvious and plain for me as any of the teams in the off-season is go to work and do what Melbourne did when they got to a position where they were going to contend, and May and Lever came from other clubs. And this has happened throughout. Collingwood went and got Billy Frampton, not a big name, played a pivotal role when they won a premiership, supported Jeremy Howe and the others. Hawthorn went out and got Barrass and Battle. You got Adelaide went out and got Mark Keane. So that is what lies ahead, because whilst they didn't win, and they can't run away from that, and they can't hide against those top 9 sides, the average losing margin was 14 points, Gerard. I think they can pull back 14 points against the best teams in the competition if they get this part of the game, because the rest of the game is in really good order. Don't fall into the trap of thinking this is the best list in the competition. That is a nonsense. They got 2/3 of a best list, but their back half is not anywhere near it. So that's the job. Go to work. Use what you got at your disposal. See who's dispensable. See who you can try and jag it. Like, not that Callum Wilkie wants to go anywhere, but that's the sort of bloke that you go after to say, hey, let's put this deal in front of you, because everything else is in good order, I think.
They're a hugely attractive proposition to go to as a key defender. So I don't know whether it ends up being Jack Silvani or whether that's the player that they need.
They need him and more.
Yes. So because the generational forwards that Darcy is, Croft shows great signs, Norton, they are on the clock in the Bont and Pelly years. This is the bit that disturbs me a little bit.
Yeah.
So since their previous grand final appearance, they've missed the finals twice. They've gone out in the elimination finals twice. I think that's the bitter edge to yesterday. This was the year. I know their age profile doesn't have them ending anytime soon, but it was time to challenge for the top 4. They've ended up missing the 8 in all likelihood.
No.
So that part of it's a fail. But you do watch aspects of the game and go, why can't they get this to work? And personnel's part of it. I suspect there's a systematic adjustment that has to be made in the all-team defence as well.
Yeah, so personnel is, as I said, it's 14-point average losing margin against these best sides. So it is personnel, but it also is for Luke to go to work now and have a look at his own system and the own way he wants to play with his defensive coaches and say, where do I need to make some change? I don't so much worry about the worry. So he's got a premiership Marcus Bontempelli, and he knows where he's at. He's a big boy. They're still very much in contention. And I don't excuse him. I don't barrack for the Western Bulldogs, and I heard some of the stuff today, the Western Bulldogs supporters are heartbroken. I get it. But hang in. Maybe Croft is one of the answers going back. Maybe Croft goes back and becomes Jeremy Howe, Mark II. That's what's got to be explored in the summer months for the Western Bulldogs, and go and explore hard.